I'm talking to us about getting out of the rut this morning, guys. Going through the most difficult periods of your life and being able to find meaning in life, being able to remain at the top of your joyous life when things are not going your way. At some point in our lives, all of us, we do go through those rough patches, and the magnitude is not the same. For some people, it's so deep, it stops being a challenge. It turns into a stressful life. It turns into a life of depression. But my key this morning is, how do you emerge out of that process successfully without having hurt your own life? Because remember, this is a process, and in every process, you want to find the best possible outcome for you, for your life. And we are talking about the ability to cope. Many students of the mind delve into this, but let me put it this way. For me, it was 10 years of no career. I just couldn't land a nail on a job, and you've got all the papers on the table. And I would say it was for a good reason that I went through that rough patch. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about the process. I learned a lot about the industry I wanted to break into. I learned a lot about small business, because at that point, it's actually at a point where I sort of gravitated from looking for employee into looking for something that could generate an income for me in the form of a small business. And I tell you the truth, guys, for me it wasn't very, very stressful, in that the coping mechanisms I put in place really, really worked for me. But I'm here to give you tips. Some you take, you put into practice, you try. It's a trial and error. It's a life of trial and error, especially for a lot of you guys that you look at where you are and you're stuck. Literally, there is no help from family, there is no help from any friend. You tell yourself that people have walked away from you, but essentially, people do not walk away from you. You have to be alone during that process, so that you spend a lot of time with yourself. So the process itself kicks people out of your life, and that is good, because you cannot always have refuge in life. You need those moments where you can be with yourself, learn the process, learn to trust the process, especially, so that when you emerge out of there, you are the most peaceful person on earth. I mean, the conversation now is peace. You go on social, everyone is saying peace, peace, peace. Why? Because you don't always need people around you. We can argue about it the whole day, but here are the few tips that really worked for me during the process, because you want to be an adaptive person who accepts your situation, but at the same time, that it's going to come to an end. It's not a thing that should lead to depression. It's not a thing that should lead to you taking a rope and going up the roof. It's just not necessary. But for me, one of the things that really, really worked for me was picking the things that I was good at, very, very good at, even if they were not bringing me money, and the things that I loved to do the most. What do I love? I love gym. When I walk into gym and I'm so stressful, believe me, when I walk out of gym, I don't have any of that stress. I just don't know how it happens psychologically for me. But when I walk out of gym, I walk a totally different person. I like going jogging in the mornings, my morning jogs. And, I'm not a treadmill person. I'm a roadwork person. I'm a person that wants to see the field, that wants to see the bushes. I find so much peace in seeing the vegetation, seeing the livestock around, being passed by vehicles around. It just gets into me. It just blows my mind. It makes me realize I'm still here, I'm still alive. And you know what, most importantly, that I own the process. I own my life, because that's the essential thing. You want to own your life. You really want to feel like I'm in charge. Okay, I've gone the whole day without food, but you know what, I feel like I'm in charge of my life, and that's the only way to fall asleep peacefully, to be honest, guys. And the things that you love the most, stay on those. I'm a reader. I stay on top of books during the most depressing times of my life. What do? I want to pick a book. I want to go to the park, sit at the park. I like my moments alone. I spend probably 90% of my time alone, and it's a killer. That's how I find myself. That's how I thrive. That's how I keep pushing myself. And I just pick a book, a self-help book. I mean, self-help books are the way to go these days. But I always loved books on entrepreneurship, books on business. I like to read. I do read almost the same books over and over. After 6 months, I pick the same book, or after 3 months, I pick the same book. I don't really go into there's a new book. Yes, I do pick a book once in a while. I've got a huge collection in my library. But the point is, because I'm a reader, when I get up in the morning and I pick a book, and I'm reading Jack Welch, his book on winning, because as you guys are aware, most of my messages are about winning. Most of my messages are about getting to the top. How do you get to the top? GE became the biggest company in the world when Jack Welch turned it around, and the bulb, they are all about the bulb. They are all about generating electricity, General Electric. And his ability to walk in there and twist GE around, his ability to build teams successfully, his ability to coordinate and engineer teams and be able to influence even the people at the bottom and turn them around to believe in themselves and say, look, we can do it. So my key message is, you can do it. Obviously, if you are listening to my videos on a daily basis. And that is the one thing. Do the things that you love.